Senator Ted Cruz said he will decide on a potential 2028 presidential run down the road. But for now, he is focused on backing former President Trump. Cruz was asked in an interview with Fox News Digital about whether he would consider running for president again in the future. Well, listen, that's a decision that will be made down the road, Cruz said in the interview. I can tell you right now, 100% of my time and energy is focused on 2024. I'm in a very serious fight in 2024. We need to win the presidency in 2024. I'm supporting Donald Trump. Cruz was first sworn into the Senate in 2013. He announced 2015 that he was running for the White House in 2016 and frequently clashed with Trump on the campaign trail. Trump hurled insults at Cruz and his family throughout that first campaign, nicknaming him Lion Ted, insulting his wife's appearance, and accusing Cruz's father of helping to, being involved with the Kennedy assassination. Cruz hit back at Trump at the time and did not endorse him at the Republican National Convention, but he ultimately did endorse Trump in the 2016 election and has grown to be a reliable ally, endorsing the former president's third bid for the White House earlier this year. Cruz is now slated to face off against Representative Colin Allred in November's election. According to the Hill's decision desk, Cruz has a 7.4 percentage point lead over Allred in the polls. Cruz also said in an interview that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is targeting his re-election campaign. Our country cannot stand 4 more years of disastrous Biden Democrat policies. They've done enormous damage to the country, and we need to win my race in Texas. It's the number one target for Chuck Schumer. It's the number one target, he said. Barack Obama just tweeted out a map of states. Here are the states we as Democrats are going to target, and he put Texas right front and center. They're coming after me, he added. I have quite a bit to say about this. There are some people, and it's been, 8 years, so of course there's some people who might not remember the 2016 presidential primary as well as others, but it was characterized by a level of nastiness I'd never seen before in the several years I'd been following this stuff religiously up to that point. You had this first-term senator who thought he had a ground game, right? I'm going to take the South during Super Tuesday. And then this game show host gets involved in the race and is able to parrot the immigration issue to a very large degree. And Cruz at first, tries to pretend like he's happy that Trump is there. He's taken out, Jeb Bush and Scott Walker and all these other people that were at the time thought to be the serious people that would be staked against Cruz for the nomination. But once that field started getting smaller and smaller and smaller, the nastiness intensified. And Cruz not wanting to run again until 2028, let's make no mistake about it. It's not because he doesn't want to be president. From the second he won that Senate seat, he was doing everything he could to try and be president. Speaking at CPAC and Obama did this, Obama did that. I remember those 2 years before he announced that presidential bid. Everybody knew within months of him becoming a senator that he was going to do that, or most likely going to do that. Him not wanting to run for president again is not because he doesn't want the job. It's not because he's run out of donors. It is entirely due to the fact that he is always going to be second fiddle to Trump. He tried to take him on directly in 2016. He has New York liberal values and would appoint liberal Supreme Court justices, and it blew up in his face for everyone to see. He was embarrassed. He was insulted in ways that I struggle to think of another person running for president that was attacked by their competitor who insulted them as personally as Trump and Cruz did. I didn't hear Trump talking about Hillary Clinton's father or even Rand Paul's dad, who actually, is an accomplished politician in his own right. Cruz was the only one, as far as I can remember, that Trump attacked the father of and the wife of. And there was no going back from that. It will always be a sign that even though he at first pretended like it bothered him, because he's a careerist who was more worried about his donors than actually even pretending to stand for anything, he bent the knee just like all the other lapdogs in the Congress that sat here and showed a problem with Trump at first before realizing that he was taking over the party. If they wanted to advance their careers, they were going to have to play bootlicker for him for the next several years, if not decade. So Cruz talking about running in 2028, he's hoping that Trump either, wins or loses. And then I said before, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Trump would try to run again in 2028. I don't think it'll work as well this time because, well, I'm just speculating. But what Cruz is inferring or figuring is that Trump is either going to win or lose this time around, and that'll like get him out of the way. He'll be done with him. He'll never have to worry about running against him ever again. But the bad news for Cruz is that this whole like I'm the young senator who's taking a stand for your rights and values, it's been done before, and it's been done better arguably by people who've come after him. I mean, look at for example, Tom Cotton. That's a guy that within months was talking about how he knew more about Iran than Obama did. And even like the young defender of liberties thing, that's DeSantis does it much better in Florida and was more well liked than Cruz was in his own home state, to where he won re-election in one of the largest landslides for that state. So there's a lot of up and coming people who I think are pretty much, unless Cruz does something really different, which I don't think he will. He's starting his little stupid podcast. He's, just coasting on that Senate seat. I think he's going to be one of these people where they can get elected to the Senate over and over, right? Because of incumbency and the fact that Texas is a red state it's slowly moving towards being purple, but it's not, fast enough to where I think in this year we'll see him lose. I think he'll win that Senate seat again, but that's going to be as far as his career will take him. He'll always be able to keep going back to that Senate seat over and over and over again, while saying that he supports term limits. Yeah, nice hypocrisy there. But as far as his presidential ambitions, he can forget it. He could run in 2028, 2032, 2036. It won't make a difference because there are plenty of people who are more charismatic, have better records, and are just more capable of winning a primary, let alone a general election, than Cruz is. I mean, I talked about how I thought DeSantis wasn't, he had like the weird thing with like the, sticking his mouth out, but he actually is a pretty effective legislator in terms of you can look at multiple things he's done as governor and see why the people of Florida liked him, where they reelected him in this like crushing margin. What has Cruz done as a senator in 10 years besides leave the state when they had a hurricane to go to Cancun? I'd love to know what has he done? What great specific thing has he done for his state? What influence has he had in the national stage? I would be the first one to just sit there as a historian and go, hey, let's talk about the accomplishments over the decade-long career of Senator Cruz. He's just a waste of space for that Senate seat. So I'm astonished by how you have members of that party, because I said that before, the GOP is, and it's been this way since 2017 and arguably before that, it's a cult. You are able to advance your career the more Trump bootlicking that you do. That's why Carrie Lake has a career as a politician, even though she's never won any race so far. That's why Marjorie Taylor Greene has a career as a politician, even though she just sits in her little red district where it's, very easy to win. I mean, that's why Kristi Noem has a career at this point, where she immediately jumped on the Trump train. And these are all more capable people in terms of being charismatic and actually having, well, I'm not going to say the same thing for, MTG or Lake, but they're no worse off than Cruz is. They're able to do what he does in terms of the Trump bootlicking and do it better. So I just don't see a lane for him in national politics. I think he's probably at best sticking with the Senate seat and going to be like one of these people that anytime there's a Republican president, I support, President whoever, as long as they're part of my party, partisan hack. And he'll have his little stupid podcast. And maybe in another Senate term, 2 terms, the Democrats might finally be able to take him off that seat. But even if they're not able to, they don't have to worry about stopping him from becoming president, because the voters of the GOP are going to make sure of that and take care of that for us. So they have my thanks for that. Although I have to say that the other options aren't really that much better. But you know what? Uh, at least they're more likable, and people are not as easily swayed by the insanity of them.